Today we're going to talk about the effects of an outlier on a set of numbers. So if we look at our set of numbers right here, we have two different sets of numbers, okay, both with 5 numbers in each. If you look at this top set of numbers, all the numbers are fairly close together. There's not one that stands out above the rest. So we would say that that set probably does not have any outliers in it. If you think back to our vocabulary word that we did with outliers, it just basically meant a number that was, way bigger, way smaller, or just a number that didn't fit the set. Okay? So again, 0, 3, 3, 4, 10, nothing out of the ordinary there. Those numbers are pretty similar. Now, if we come down to the bottom one, 0, 3, 3, 4, and 90. This number is going to be far and away bigger than the rest of the numbers. So what we're going to do is we're going to look and see what effects this has on our mean, median, mode, and range. Okay, so we have very similar sets of data except for 90 here, but only 10 here. We've got a big outlier. So let's do the top one. If we do the mean for the top one, we're just going to add them up and divide by how many numbers. So that would be 6, 10, 20. 20 divided by 5 is going to be 4. So we've got a mean of 4 for that one. Okay. Then we go to the median. The median is just going to be the middle. 0, 10, 3, 4. 3 is going to be your middle number. Okay. Next we've got the mode. The number that happens the most. We got a couple of 3's. So that's also going to be the mode. We'll have 3 for the mode. And then we have the range, which would just be the high number minus the lowest number. We'd have 10 minus 0, which is just going to be 10. Okay, that's our mean, median, mode, and range for this first problem. Now for the second one, we're going to do the same thing and see how that outlier affects these numbers and which ones it affects the most. So we'll go through here and we'll find the mean. Okay, if I add these up now, 6, 10 plus 90 is going to be 100. So that would be 100 divided by 5. So that's going to change our mean to 20. If we do the median, outside numbers, we still have 3 as our middle number. Mode, we still have 3 as the number that happens the most. And then our range, now we have 90 minus 0, so our range is going to be 90. So if we look at this and compare our two sets of numbers, if you have an outlier, it's probably not going to affect the median that much, and it's probably not going to affect the mode that much, depending on the numbers. What it definitely will affect, the mean is affected big time with outliers. Keep that in mind. An outlier can change things drastically. Also, look at the range. The range could change drastically with the insertion of an outlier. So keep that in mind as we're going through these problems. If you have an outlier or a number that's doesn't fit the rest of the set, the things that are going to be affected most will be the mean and the range. Affected least, median, and mode. Now for my other example to prove a point, I've got two very similar sets of numbers, okay? Both with 6 numbers in each. If we look at it, we've got some pretty glaring outliers here that don't go with the rest of the data. Outliers being probably 2 and 3. Okay, those are the ones that aren't going to go with these 4 numbers, aren't going to go with these at all. These are our 2 outliers. And what I want to do is, again, show you the effects that the outliers have. So we'll do mean, median, mode, and range again to see what those effects are. So if I do the mean, I'm just adding them up and dividing. It's just like the average, adding them up, dividing by how many numbers there are. So it adds up to 227, and I'm going to divide by 6, and it's going to be somewhere around 37 or 38. Okay, that's going to be our mean. Now let's look at our mean down here. If I add these all up and find the mean, I'm going to get 319, and then I have to divide it by the 6 numbers, and my mean is going to be somewhere around 53. So if you look at that, that's a big difference right there. These two outliers had a big effect on the mean. Now if we go to the median, okay, I need a middle number. So we'll cross out here, cross, cross, 2 middle numbers. Okay, if this 2 middle numbers thing happens, and it's going to happen down here too if I cross off, still 2 middle numbers, I just need to find the middle of these 2 numbers. Okay, and between 55 and 50 exactly, I know is going to be 52.5 or 52.5. So my median here is going to be 52.5. Now, if you can't figure out how to do that, all you have to do is, and I'll do it for this one down here, add these 2 numbers together and then divide by how many numbers there are. So 50 and 55 would be 105. And if I do 105 divided by 2, I get 52 with a remainder of 1. And since I divided by 2, it's going to be 52 and a remainder of 1 out of the 2 I divided by, which is still 52.5. So they're both the same. So you can figure that out either way, but basically the point is these 2 are not changed. The outliers did not affect that. Now if we go to the mode, let's see. For mode, I've got, looks like no mode up here. And for mode down here, I still don't have any mode, so it's going to be no mode. And then if I go to the range, here I've got 60 minus 2, because the range is the highest minus the lowest. That's going to be 58. Here I have 60 minus 48, so the range is going to be 12. That is the other big affected set of numbers with those outliers. The range is highly affected. The mean is highly affected. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about these kind of problems and looking at the numbers. The outliers affect the mean and the range the most.